Good morning. I am Rajini Kannan from MCA department. I am associate professor working in PSNA College of Engineering and Technology. Today I would like to discuss on the topic C programming tutorial. Okay. So my ultimate aim is to give an excellent video lecture to computer science and IT students, especially for the paper named Fundamentals of Computer Programming. This paper they will study in their first semester, first year. Okay. So the topics which I just plan to cover is Introduction to C, Operators and Expressions, Data Types, Input-Output Statements, Decision Statements, Control Statements, Arrays, Functions, Pointers, Structure and Union, and File System. First, I would like to introduce C language. So this C language is a middle-level language and it is a structured programming language. This C language being created by a scientist named Dennis Ritchie in the year 1972 by Dell Laboratories. Okay. So this C language is best used for the development of operating systems such as Windows, Linux and Unix. Using this C language, many applications were developed like for embedded systems, for interrupts and for compilers. So this particular C language is used to develop some system softwares rather than application softwares. So next topic which I would like to discuss is what are the various operators used in C language. So C language uses different types of operators, such as the first operator is arithmetic operator, then assignment operator, logical operator, relational operator, bitwise operator, incrementer or decrementer, special operator. And finally, conditional operator. So even though all these things are fundamental and basic, my ultimate aim is to give a full package to these BE students so that my video lecture should really help them to prepare for their examination. Also, my intention is to just make them write program on their own, okay, without depending on others. So in my later session, I will be covering how to write programs in C language without any problem. Okay. So these are the 8 different types of operators, which is my first topic which I would like to discuss. So the operators under arithmetic operator, operators such as addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, and one special operator called modulus operator. These are the 5 different operators comes under arithmetic operator. Of course, you all are familiar with these 5 different types of 4 different operators. This percentage is called a modulus operator. What is its role? Like if for example, I am taking a variable A, to that variable I am assigning a value 10, and B, to that variable I am assigning a value 2. If I say C equal to A divided by B, so that is 10 divided by 2, which gives 5. So this division operator always gives a quotient, whereas if I am doing like this, C equal to A modulo B, it gives 0. So what is the meaning? So this slash operator, division operator is always returns a quotient. This modulus operator always gives a remainder. Okay. So that is a special operator, modulus operator, which always gives a remainder of a division. Then comes the assignment operator. One example for assignment operator is, you can take this example again, A equal to 10. Means I am assigning a value to a variable. So this operator, equals operator, is called assignment operator. Then comes a logical operator. Logical operators are and, or, not. Okay. So and is denoted by double ampersand, and or is denoted by 2 pipe sign, and not is exclamation. Okay. So I will tell you the role of these 3 operators when it plays a vital role when we are discussing about when we start doing some basic program. By that time I will explain you what is the role of a logical operator. This logical operator comes in between the expression in a condition statement. And the relational operator. The relational operator, which already you people are familiar with, the operators like less than or equals, greater than or equals, of course, not equals, then equals. You can find a difference over here. This equals is an assignment operator, this double equals is a relational operator. That's a difference between this double equals and this equals. This is an assignment operator, whereas this is an this is used for equating, like you want to check whether these two numbers are equal, something like that. For that we will be using this double equals. Then comes the bitwise operator. The bitwise operators are AND. This is the AND, one ampersand, and this is R, and this caret sign is XOR, and this tilde is NOT. Okay. So these operators are comes in logic gates. Like I can explain it. Suppose, if for example you are taking a number, this 8 is a decimal number. This 8 is a decimal number. The binary equivalent of this 8 is 1000. This is the binary equivalent of this 8. I will tell you how this 8 is being derived using, how this decimal number is being converted to binary. It's very simple, like take 8 and divide it by 2. 4 2s are 8, remainder 0. Once again, 2 2s are 4, remainder 0. Once again do it. 1 2 is 2. This value is less than 2. Stop it over here. You start writing from bottom to top. So that is the binary equivalent of the given decimal number 8. Okay. Similarly, you take another number. You take 4. The binary equivalent of 4 is 100. Okay. Now, I would like to perform this bitwise operation over these two numbers 8 and 4. For 4 the binary equivalent is, I am representing it using 4 bits 0 1 0 0. Okay. So this is the binary equivalent for 4, this is binary equivalent for 8. Now I would like to perform these operations against these two numbers 8 and 4. I can do like this, like take 8 ANDed with 4, 8 ANDed with 4 will perform like this. What is the binary equivalent of 8? It is 1 0 0. For 4 it is 0 1 1 0 1 0 0. Okay. So before starting the operation, you should know the table for this AND gate. What is the characteristics table for AND gate is, suppose there are two inputs X and Y and the output is Z. The combinations, if there are 2 bits, the combinations are 0 0 0 1 1 0 1 1. Okay. Always 1 stands for true and 0 stands for false. Okay. So the output of this AND operation will be, when both are false, result is false. 1 false, 1 true, result is false. In AND gate I am telling, 1 true, 1 false, result is false. 1 true, 1 true, if both are true, result is true. Okay. So this is the output of AND gate operation. So now you come over here. Here we have been asked to perform the AND operation. 0 ANDed 0, 0 ANDed 0. What is output? 0. 0 ANDed 0. What is output? 0. 0 AND with 1, 0 AND with 1. It is 0. 1 ANDed with 0, 1 ANDed with 0, 0. Finally, end result is what? 0 is the answer for this particular operation, bitwise operation. Okay. So this is an example for AND bitwise operator and bitwise operator. Similarly, if you have been asked to perform OR operation between the value, decimal value 8 and 4 means, you should know what is the characteristics table for AND operation, OR operation. Okay. Once again the inputs remains the same. X and Y are the two inputs, Z is the output. The combinations are 0 0 0 1 1 0 1 1. Okay. So whereas in our operation, if either one of the input is 1, output is 1. Otherwise, if both the inputs are 0 only, then the output is 0. So now performing OR operation over these two values 8 and 4 will give 0 or 0 is 0 or 0 is 0, 0 or 0 is 0, 0 or 1 is 1, 1 or 0 is 1. So what is the end result? End result is 8 plus 4, 12. 12 is the answer for this particular operation or operation between 8 and 4. 8 and 4. Likewise, there are other operators like XOR, tilde, and left shift, right shift. Left shift, right shift. Okay. So these are the 6 different bitwise operators. Performs operations such as AND, OR, XOR, NOT, left shift, right shift. Okay. So provided if you have some little bit knowledge in this logic gates, surely you understand what will be the output of any two numbers when you are performing any bitwise operation. Okay. Then the increment operator and decrement operator. These are the two special operators, like this is plus plus, minus minus. So this is increment operator and this is decrement operator, plus plus, minus minus. So in it there are two different types of increment and two different types of decrement. One is post increment and pre increment. If for example, in this example if I give a plus plus, otherwise plus plus a plus plus is post increment, plus plus a is pre increment. Similarly for decrement, I can give a minus minus and minus minus a. Okay, so this is a post decrement and the other one is a pre decrement. Okay, and before that we will see what is actually a conditional operator. The other name for conditional operator is ternary operator. Next we are going to say the special operator. The special operators are, this ampersand is called referencing operator. This asterisk is used in the pointers, so this is dereferencing operator. Then the third operator is a size of operator. The size of operator will return a size of any data type. Okay, and the last operator is called a conditional operator or a ternary operator. Conditional or a ternary operator. Here I have given an example, like there is an expression a greater than b. Okay, so it will return two values. If it is true, what is the meaning is a, if a is bigger, then the value a will be returned. If it is false, then the value b will be returned. So here, since it involves three operators, a colon is there, a question mark is there, a colon is there, and this is being equated to some other variable c. For example, c equal to a greater than b, question mark a colon b. If this condition is true, the value a will be assigned to the variable c. If it is false, the value b will be assigned to the variable c. So this is an overall summary about what are the various operators being used in C language. Okay. Next we will see what is an expression. What is an expression? So if I write c equal to a plus b, it is a valid expression. It is a valid expression. So expression is a combination of what? You see, this is a binary operator, because an operator plus is there. Before operator we do have an operand a and an operand b. So this is a valid expression. An expression is a combination of variables and operators. So that is this is a valid example for an expression. Next we will see data types. What are the various data types available in C language? Okay, so you should know what is a value. A value is, if I say 1 is a value, 12.5 is a value, a is a value, if I say rom is a value, all these things are value. But broadly classified in C language, the values are being viewed as only two categories. One is a number, another one is a string, number and a string. So for number, there are two types of numbers. One is a number without decimal place, another is a number with decimal place. Similarly, if you take string, a single character is also considered as a character. Collection of characters are considered as a string. Okay, so broadly classified, the basic data types. The basic data types in C language are int, long. Okay, int and long. How it differs? It differs in terms of size. Suppose if I have 1 liter water bottle means I can store 1 liter of water. If I have 4 liters water bottle means I can store 4 liters of water. Similarly here, int can accommodate 2 bytes data, long can accommodate 8 bytes data. But both these data types are meant for storing only integer numbers. Similarly, to store a number with the decimal part, that is floating point number, we do have two data types. One is float, another one is double. How it differs? It again differs in terms of size. The float is 4 bytes, double is 8 bytes. And this CHAR is a data type, meant for storing one character or collection of characters. Both for a single character as well as for collection of characters, the data type used in C language is CHIR. So this is a basic data type. Similarly, there is another data type called enumerated data type. Enumerated data type. This is another type of data type. So this we will discuss later. And derived data type. Derived data type. So what is derived data type? Structure, union, okay, and these things, arrays, pointers. These four categories are falling under a data type called derived data type. And there is a last data type called void data type. Void data type. It's bit earlier to know about void data type. When we see more programs, when you are becoming expertise, you can understand what is this void. Okay. So in general, the data types are broadly classified into basic data type, enumerated data type, derived data type, and void data type. Under basic data type, we do have data types such as int, long, float, double, character. And there is a special data type called enumerated data type that we will see later. And derived data type has four types. One is struct, union, arrays, and pointers. Similarly, the fourth data type is called void data type. Okay, so it is an overview about what are the various data types we can use in C language. With this note, I would like to move to the next topic, input output statements. That is the fourth topic under discussion, input output statements. So basically, if you want to do anything, if you want to do any process, you should get some input from the user. That value will be accepted by your program. Your program will process the data. Finally, it gives you an output. So that is the role of an input output statement. So here in C language, there are two types of input output statement. One is console input output statement. Another one is file input output statement. Suppose you are going to read some data, some information from a file, or else you want to write something into a file, then you need a file input output statement. Whereas if you want to give input through the keyboard, then you need a console input output statement. So there is a input statement called getChar, which gets one single character as input, and that character will assign to a variable. That is the role of a getChar function. getChar is a function which gets a single character from the user through keyboard, and that value will get assigned to this variable ch. Similarly, you can use another function called putChar, which prints that character, whatever character you received at input, that will get printed on the screen. So these two functions, getChar and putChar, are the functions which is being used for handling only characters, that two single characters, not collection of characters. Okay, so these are the two input output functions. Similarly, there is a function called getS. Okay, getS of name. Here name is a variable. So using this particular function, now you can give input through the keyboard. Suppose for this particular variable, if I am giving an input Ramkumar, it will accept Ramkumar. That Ramkumar will get stored into the variable name. Similarly, if you want to print that Ramkumar output which is being stored in the name, give putS name, which will print that string on the screen. Okay, so this getChar and putChar is used only for handling single characters. This getS and putS is used for collecting, for getting a string as an input, that is collection of characters. Now you will have a doubt. Is there any other function we can get a different data types as input? Yes. For your question, the answer is there. There is a function called scanf. Okay, this is a scanf is a built-in library function which you can use for getting different data types as inputs. Okay, so it has two components. One part is a control string within double quotes, control string. I will tell you what is control string. Okay, then followed with variable list. So this is a syntax. In C language, all executable statements should terminate with the semicolon. When I start the first program, I will make you all understand how to write a simple C program. Okay, so this is an introduction class wherein you should know, if you want to learn a language, you should know the rules and regulation of the language. Otherwise, also you should know what are all the functions available and how we can use that available. That introduction is very much essential. That is why I am starting with these basics. These basics will certainly help you students to learn this language to the core. Okay, that is the intention behind this particular video lecture. Okay, so this scanf function is an input function. So you should know what is this control string. I just put this control string is a command within double quotes, comma, followed with variable list. Similarly, printf statement is output statement. Scanf is an input statement, printf is an output statement. This again has two components. One is control string, then followed with variable list. Okay. Okay. So before proceeding, you should know how a variable type is being replaced. Now I'll give a few an intro about how a variable type is being replaced. This percentage %d is replaced for an integer data type. Similarly, this percentage %ld is replaced for long data type. Percentage %f is replaced for float data type. Percentage %lf is replaced for double data type. Percentage %c is replaced for character data as well as string for both. Okay, I'm sorry, for character data type percentage %c is replaced. Percentage %s is replaced for string. So there is no difference between character and string. If you are declaring a variable as a character ch means this case ch can store only one character. So instead, if I say character name of some 25, I am declaring the size of my variable name as 25 characters means, then this name will be treated as a string. That's the difference between a character and a string. Okay. So char ch means this variable ch can store only one character, whereas char name 25, this is an one dimensional array. That I will explain you when I come to the topic arrays. So char name 25 means now this variable name can store maximum of 25 characters. So if it is for a single character or for collection of characters, the data type used is what? Only char. So this percentage %c is for getting a single character as input, percentage %s is to get collection of characters, that is string. So now coming back to these two functions, scanf and printf, now I will explain it through a simple example which makes you people to understand how an input is being received. That is, a different data type input is being received through this particular input statement scanf. Okay, for example, in my program I have one integer variable n. Okay, then one variable of type long, that is m, and one variable of type float f, and one variable of type double, that is lf, then one variable of type character ch. Okay, now I would like to get these variables as inputs through my scanf statement. So scanf double quotes, first input is an integer variable, second one is a long variable, that is a m, that is percentage %ld. Then the third one is, you should not put any commas inside or you should not use any escape sequences. I will tell you what is escape sequences later. Okay, so percentage %d is for getting this n, percentage %m is to get this long variable, percentage %f is to get this float variable, percentage %lf is to get this double variable, percentage %c is to get this ch Okay, so 5 variables I have declared. For these 5 variables, now I am going to get the input through the keyboard using this input function called scanf. So the variables are m of type integer, n of type integer, m of type long, f of type float, lf of type double, ch of type character. So %d, %ld, %lf, %f, %c. And now I need to give my variable list, because what is the syntax? Scanf control string. Now the control string has been filled with what are the variables, what are the types of variables I am going to get as input. So the first one is what? %d. What is the variable for %d? It is n. So in scanf, except for string data type, for other data types you need to put an ampersand before the variable, otherwise it will not accept the input. So except string variable, for other variables you need to put an ampersand before the variable starts. So ampersand n for %d, ampersand m for %ld, that is long data type, then ampersand f for floating point data type, then ampersand lf for double data type, then this is character ch. So this is ampersand ch. Okay, so this is the syntax for this scanf statement. What is the first part? First part is a control string followed with variable list. So in the control string I am going to get 5 different data types variables, one of type integer, other one of type long, then float, then double, then followed with character. All these variables I have declared in my program. So the variables follows in this fashion. The first one is an integer variable, and long variable, a float variable, a double variable, then a character variable. Got it? You understand? Fine. Next, a printf is an output statement. Using this scanf, we are getting the input. Similarly, now I can use this printf to print the values, whatever values I received as input. Now I would like to print it on the screen. So I will be using the same order. Like first I would like to print my integer variable, then my long variable, then my float variable, then my double, followed with a characters, %c. Now in the printf statement, no need to put an ampersand before the variables. Simply you tell the variables. For first one, m, n, f, lf and ch. That's all. Now understand, I hope you understand the syntax as well as how it is being used. A simple example I have given. If you are using a variable in a C program, it is mandatory that you need to declare the variable type. Otherwise, the C program during compilation it will tell an error, undefined variable. So whatever variable you are using in your program, you need to tell what is its data type. That is mandatory. You understand? I hope you understand what are the various input-output statements available in C language. C language has a special input-output statement: getChar, putChar for characters, getS, putS for string, and this scanf and printf meant for getting heterogeneous data types. That is, any data type variables you can get as input and print the same on the screen. Okay, and this particular thing I think you understand. This %d is replaced for integer data type, %ld is replaced for long, f for float, lf for double, %c for character, %s for string. Okay, fine. Now I will pause on to the, yes, it is time to start the programs. I need to start a simple program. Before starting the program, I would like to give the structure of the C language. What is the structure of the C language? Okay, so that is very important. Everyone should know what is the structure of C language. C language in the sense C program. So the first one is, it always has a documentation line. I will tell you through an example. I will explain everything. First one is documentation line, followed with link line, then comes definition. Fourth one is global declaration. Fifth one is, after global declaration, function prototype declaration. Then sixth one is your main function. Then seventh one is user defined function declaration is over definition. Okay, this is the order. A C program needs to be followed. Okay, this is mandatory, this is not mandatory, this is optional. A link is mandatory. Suppose if you are using any function, library function, you need to tell that library is available in which header file. So link is main. This definition is needed. Like if you have any, if you want to define a variable, that variable you are going to use in your entire program, then you can define it over. And if you have any global variables that you need to use in all the functions of your program, then you can declare your global variables. And function prototype. So if you are declaring, if a user is creating his own function, that function needs to be declared. Okay, then the sixth one is main function and followed with user defined function definition. So this is the structure of a C language. Now I will write a small program, very small program, that is hello world program, which makes you understand how it is being followed. So first is what? Documentation line. Documentation line. This is nothing but the comment line. So in all your programs, try to include the comment, which helps you when you are seeing your program after a long time. This comment will help you. This particular program is for what? For what reason you have written this program? This program is, suppose you are writing a program to calculate an EMI, then you can write the comment that this particular program is to calculate the EMI. Okay, so that is the main use of this, the first line, that is documentation line. Suppose here I am going to write a program for hello world, means I will mention it as hello world, so that when I see this program, I can understand that this particular program is for hello world. Okay, followed with, what is the second one? Second one is link line. So in this program, I am going to use a function called printf. So printf is a built-in library function. So compiler may not recognize what is this printf. In order to make the compiler to recognize this printf, I have to tell appropriate header file where this particular printf function is residing in. So this printf is residing inside the header file, has to include std, standard input output.h. So this is a header file. Inside this header file only this particular printf function resides. So this is mandatory. So third one is a definition. Like if I am using any variable inside throughout my program, and I want to assign a constant value for that particular variable, then I have to define it. Of course, in this program, I am not using anything, so this I will skip. Then the global variable declaration. I don't have any global variable. I don't want to declare any global variable, so this again I will skip. Then function prototype declaration. Of course, you people still I didn't taught you what is a function, so you may not aware of. Even if I do, you may not aware of what is a function. So I will do it later. So skip it. Then the main function. Okay. So here I will start my main over here. Void main. What does it mean? Void is what? This is return type. This again you may not understand now. If I go to my further sessions, you may understand what is a void. Void means a function which doesn't return any value, then it is called a void. Okay, this main is not going to return any value. That is why the return type of this main is a void. Fine. Now inside this function, now I do have only one single line, printf. Within printf, I am going to give a constant string value hello world. Okay, then I will close it here. Or in C language, every executable statements to terminate with a semicolon. That is a rule. Okay, then of course I used it. And user defined function definition, I didn't use any user defined function. That's all. Now the program is ready. This is a very simple program, and if I want to compile, the first step in executing a program is, first I have to compile my program. So for compiling the program, Alt hold with F9 will compile the program. So entire program gets compiled, and finally if there is any syntax error, suppose if I forgot to put a semicolon, then it will tell at this particular line number the statement is missing semicolon. So I will rectify this particular error by means of putting a semicolon over there. So I will compile the program by means of pressing Alt F9. It will, if the compiler is telling that success, there is only 0 errors, then I can move on to the next step, is to run the program. So I can run the program by means of pressing Control F9. Control F9 will run the program, and it will show the output on the screen. And what output? It will be hello world. It will be hello world. Okay. So this is a very simple program. Why I have written this program is, you should know the structure of a C language. Here in this program, command line I have included, link I have mentioned, definition I don't used, local global variable declaration is not there in my program. I don't have any function, so why should I declare it? Then my main function is there. Inside my main function, I have written only hello world, and this curly brace says that here the block starts and this curly brace says that the program starts here, the program ends over here. Okay, fine. So this is what I would like to say, like what in this particular topic, the structure of a C language. Next, what we are going to say is a decision statement. A decision statement. So decision statement is like it is if with, else, then nested if condition, okay, fine. And there is an equivalent replacement for this if statement. You can either use if statement or else you can use a switch. Okay, so these two statements are falling under the category of decision statement, if with, else, nested if condition, and a switch statement. Okay, I'll give first, we'll discuss one by one. First, let me take if condition. So the syntax for if is if an expression. Okay, so this expression will return only two values, either a true or a false. Okay, either a true or a false. So true statement. Okay, this is a simple if. So if the condition is true, the statement following this if will get executed. Then another second type of if statement is if expression a true statement block, else. If this condition is false, it will go to the false statement block. Got it? Fine. Then the third category, like if an expression. Okay, sometimes I need to go for multiple conditions. Okay, for example, and best example can be try to write a program to check whether the biggest number among the three numbers. In such cases, if expression, then if this expression is true, this will get executed. Else, one more if this expression is true, this statement will execute that. Okay, so this is called a nested if condition. For every if, I will give a valid example. You take this particular if condition, if age greater than 18, printf you can vote. Understand? You can vote means the value in the variable age will be checked. If this value is greater than 18, it simply prints output as you can vote. This is an example for a simple if. Again, if I say if age greater than 18, printf you can vote. Else, if this condition is false, printf you are not eligible to vote. This is another case. So this is an example for if with else. The first one is a simple if. This is an example for if with else. I can give a best example for the nested if condition. Okay, for example, we do have the values for the variables a is 10, b is 15 and c is 20. Okay, looking at these values, one can manually say that C is the biggest one. Okay, so you may think why programming is needed. Of course, for 3 numbers one can work. If it is million numbers, obviously a program will only identify and tell which is the biggest number. Okay, fine. Coming back, if A greater than B and A greater than C. Now I use this logical operator. I didn't give any explanation when we were discussing about logical operator. This is the right time to discuss about. Now, in order to strongly appeal for the variable A, to say that A is the biggest number, I have to say that the condition is must. These two conditions needs to get satisfied. One is A needs to be greater than B. Also, it is must that A needs to be greater than C. If both these conditions are true, then I can say that printf big equal to big is A. A is big. Something like that. Okay, fine. So this particular portion strongly appeals for the variable A. Next, I am going to appeal for the second variable b. If b greater than a, also b greater than c, then printf big is b. Okay, so this part will argue, will fight for what? The variable b. If both these conditions are false, obviously there is no need for me to check the third variable. Simply I can say that printf, which is biggest, c is b. Okay, so this can be a yes, of course, reasonable example for simple if with else, nested if conditions. Nested if condition, fine. Next, a switch statement. So before starting this decision statement, I told an if can be replaced by switch, a switch can be replaced by if. Okay, through some programs I can make you simple and understand how if can be a best replacement for switch and switch can be a best replacement for if. Okay, so this switch, syntax for switch expression, case, the first case, different cases will be discussed, case 1. Okay, so this particular case will be discussed, which has a statement 1 break. This is new comment that I will tell you what is the role of a break. Case 2, statement 2, break. Case 3, statement 3, break. Like that, case n, statement n, break. Okay, finally this switch has a separate block called default, okay, which has some set of lines and here it ends. Switch has a beginning, switch has a n, and you see inside this switch this particular expression will return anything it will return. Sometimes it may return a true or false, sometimes it may return a numerical value, sometimes it may return a constant, a character constant. Based on that output, based on the output of this expression, the cases will be selected. Okay, if none of this case gets matched, then the control will branch to the default portion. Okay, for example, if the expression gets matched with the first case, it should not execute the rest of the cases or it should not go to the default. That is why always within a case the last statement will be a break statement that will break the switch and come out of this switch. Okay, with a simple example I will make you all understand how a switch works. Let us get one character as input, okay, and this character will be a expression being passed to the switch, and this particular program is to check whether the entered character is a vowel or a constant. Okay, so vowel means A, E, I, O, U. Okay, if the entered character matches with any one of these characters, then it is a vowel, otherwise it is a consonant. So I will check like this, case, okay, A, E, I, O, U. So all these things are being checked. If it is true, if this value gets matched with any one of these letter, then I will say printf, okay, the entered character is vowel. I will say like this, then I will give a break. It also has a default block. I told you, like, because in the syntax itself I just given switch has a default. Here in the default I will say printf entered character is consonant. Okay, consonant means a character other than A, E, I, O, U. Okay, for example, when this line gets executed, if my input is A, so with the value A it enters into the switch and checks every cases, it gets matched with this A, so obviously the output will be the entered character is vowel, break will come out of this switch statement. Suppose my input is Z. So with the value Z, it enters in the switch statement. There is no match at all. There is no match at all in this case. So obviously it will be moving on to this default portion. There what I have written, entered character is consonant. So this is a best example how a switch works. Okay, program which tells whether the entered character is a vowel or a consonant. Okay. So these are the two important decision statements. One is if, another one is switch. And you got an opportunity to know another important statement called break statement. Similarly, break, there is one other statement called continue that we will use in some other occasion, and I will make you understand what is the difference between a break statement and a continue statement. Okay. In this video lecture, so far we have seen, I have given an overview about C language, history of C language, then what are the various operators available in C language, and what is an expression, and what are the various data types are there in C language, input output statements, decision statements. So in this video lecture I covered 6 topics, but we have not yet entered fully into the programming part. So the rest of the topics to be covered is control statements, arrays, functions, pointers, structure, union, file system. Okay, so this video lecture I would like to conclude now. Then in my next video lectures we will be concentrating on the other topics with many programs we are going to discuss. Okay, so thank you. I would like to thank the management for giving me this great opportunity. This is my very long dream, I can say. I would like to give a very good video lecture to this particular language, especially to C language. So it is an starting only. I would like to give more such video lectures, especially on this particular topic. I want to share my 18 years experience in this particular C programming tutorial. So so far I have not yet touched my programming part. So my aim is to give more number of programs and make the students to write programs on their own. Thank you.